everybody, it's Safi and Marco, and we are reviewing Halloween 5. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm getting tired, but it's Safi and Marco Dish Out on the Movies. It's our correct title. And we are dishing out on a particular movie, and we're dishing out on another Halloween movie, and that is Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers, which Marco and I just discussed. Why is it called that? And he has some kind of idea. My idea is I don't understand.
My idea is that it should have been called Halloween 5, The Revenge of the Writers Against the Fanboys, because they all the fanboys, they loved all this stuff from Halloween 4. Like, they loved that ending where Jamie is all of a sudden a cold-blooded killer overnight somehow.
Yeah.
And then they loved Dr. Loomis as still this hero who just it's almost like he's not even a person either. They love all this stuff. And so what do? They just reverse all of that in this one. And it starts off, and the stupidest freaking ending in Halloween 4 where Michael gets shot with these giant random guns that they just got from a video game somewhere. They shoot him, and he falls into a hole and then rides a river into this area where there's this random old man.
No, wait a minute. They shot him and he fell in the hole, but they also threw in some kind of cherry bombs or something. They didn't look like cherry bombs. Oh, I know, M80s. That's what they look like. Well, M80s I think is kind of dynamite.
Dynamite.
I think M80s are little pieces of dynamite.
Dynamite.
I've seen them. They're that shape. That's why
And so, this feeble little old man somehow carries Michael's 300-pound body into this little shack, and for some reason he keeps him for a year.
Now I know what it is. It was the revenge from Michael Myers was because his mask didn't fit him. So he wanted to take it out on everybody by trying to kill everybody in sight. Mostly the little girl, but anybody who was associated with her and held her hand and even looked at her more than once, he had to get them too.
She was that little bitch was the one who decided that his mask wouldn't fit this movie.
I guess. Okay. And she's still a cute little girl. They couldn't have shot this movie too far into the future from the one they just had done, because the little girl was still looking like a young girl. I mean, when kids age,
okay, Safi.
You can tell.
Uh-huh.
So, it's noticeable.
So Michael escapes the old man. He kills him.
Of course.
he wakes up and what does he say as a thank you to the old man for? Basically, you could look at it as like a copycat scene of that scene from Bride of Frankenstein, where Frankenstein goes to that old man for help, and then he ends up, doesn't he kill him, or he just leaves him, whatever.
I'm not sure.
It's basically like a copy of that scene, kind of.
I think he did do something. He might have killed him.
But Michael killed the old man as a thank you to him. And then so basically it's Michael taking his revenge on the town, and he's killing all the people.
Everybody in sight.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, Safi, this movie has a pretty big kill count, but the biggest kill counts are in the remix.
Oh, yeah. Probably.
So, this movie, let's just start talking about it. First off, I was joking about how they took revenge on the fanboys, but some of that is kind of trash because there's a lot of weird choices in this movie. It's a very weird movie. And, I used to like it a lot as a kid because I liked a lot of the ideas. I liked a lot of the scenes. Even though they were stupid, I thought they were really fun and entertaining. Like the one where, at the end, where he's fighting with Dr. Loomis and Dr. Loomis beats him with the 2x4. I thought that was cool because it was sort of like Dr. Loomis finally getting to have like a triumphant moment, because in the first one, he doesn't get to have a triumphant moment. In the second one, he kind of gets to have one, but it's at the expense of his own life. And then in the fourth one, he basically loses. And so this is really the only triumphant moment because he captures Michael, and so now they're just going to lock him up and keep him there. And that's like a much better strategy than to try to, quote, kill him. Because they'll just try and kill him in another way. I mean, I can't wait for you to see how they kill him in the sixth one, Safi, because you're going to...
Well, no. How they try.
Yeah,
to
try.
kill him. You have to make that qualification.
Well, technically, they do kill him because the next one after the sixth one actually pretends like it's a sequel to the original two, and so it's actually not a sequel to the sixth one. So technically the sixth one ends in its own timeline where Michael dies. So the timeline with the series is a whole other discussion because it's so convoluted and disgustingly stupid.
Which is not like anybody else's timeline in the universe.
Continuity is really a problem with this series.
And I don't like that, and that
like,
really is not the sign of a good movie.
Like with this movie, with Part 5, what did they do? Remember Rachel from Part 4, the character that a lot of people liked, especially the fanboys. And she's good. It's just that her character, like in Part 4, she was like just obsessed with that guy.
Oh.
And it's like, she's not a good character. Like, she didn't even care about Jamie at all. And she like kept on leaving her alone.
Which freaked me out. I just couldn't believe it.
Well, in this movie, she's basically taken the role of mother to Jamie, and then she gets killed. And then literally, I'm not even kidding you, literally everyone forgets about her existence the rest of the movie. Like, it's literally like she disappeared and got abducted by aliens. Like, that's how bad it is.
That's weird. And this is a small town. You don't forget about anybody.
Well, that's another thing.
Especially in this kind of a situation where there's a murderer around. Everybody knows what everybody's doing. That is the way it is in a small town. And anybody listens to this and lives in a small town, they know I'm telling the truth.
Well, it's funny because the tagline is, he's back, and this time they're ready. And it's like...
I don't think so.
No, they're actually not ready at all.
Not even close.
There's literally not one instance in the entire movie where they're ready for anything that he does. Like, even at the end, Dr. Loomis had to come back after Michael already stabbed him and tried to kill him. So, they were not ready at all. And another thing was that, there were all these moments in the movie where you could see Michael Myers clear as day in the distance. And driving in the car, like there's one moment where he's at a gas station. There's one moment where he's literally driving in front of 2 police officers and they don't even care. But then when a fake Michael Myers comes out of the house at the same distance where the car was at in the previous shot, they make a big deal about that guy. And it's like, okay, this is inconsistent. Because you could clearly see that's Michael Myers. And the director, I think a big problem with this movie is that even though there's a lot of really good ideas and really good characters, well, good actors, I should say, and good kills, the director does not know how to shoot Michael Myers because he's not scary at all. The movie's not scary, and it just feels sort of like a person was hired to do this.
Well, to me, it's like he's a robot.
Yeah, a robot.
And, I mean, I've seen TV shows like, how about Lost in Space, for example? I don't know if you all remember that, but there's a robot in that. That robot has more character than
Michael Myers. Safi, that's
a robot.
Call it
and then also in the Star Trek Next Generation, I believe Data is a robot, and he has more character than Michael Myers. And so I don't even know why I'm saying a robot. Maybe I should say a walking mannequin. I don't know.
Well, that's what's funny is that, that's what results when you don't give him a character. Because these directors, especially this one, he did not understand the intent of having a, quote, force of evil character. And I really hate that because, he really wasn't a force of evil in the first movie at all. Because he only killed like 3 people. In the 5th movie, he kills like 20 people. So, he really should be more scary in the 5th one. But he's not because of the way that it's shot. Because of, like, they'll have a scene where he's walking down the stairs. What do they show? They show a little close-up of his feet walking down the stairs. And it's like, this isn't scary at all. Like, this is just, it's stupid. It's like an insult to the character. Well, he's not a character at all. He's a flat character. But anyways, this movie, it's a really weird movie. Right, Safi? Like...
Yes, because it's kind of like the Energizer Bunny. It just keeps going and going and going and going. But it's almost like it's in a circular motion. Like, it goes around, it goes to a point, then it goes around, it goes to another point, and then it goes back to the very beginning again. And nothing ever goes, nothing moves ahead. It's always stopping at the same places because the same thing's happening over and over and over again.
I would kind of disagree because even though the same things happen over and over again, he still ends up killing like almost every character in the movie.
That's true. And so, I guess that they're caught up in the, it's like, like in Frankenstein, and we have the mills where you have the water wheel that goes around and around and around. That's what it reminds me of. And then I guess it's like these people get caught up in the baskets where the water goes.
The random people.
And they get, anybody, and they get killed.
Because
so that's what it reminds me of. And
when
it's like robotics.
When Rachel dies, she is replaced with a couple of random teenagers who nobody really cared about. And they didn't even know about them, actually. And the main one actually is really good. Tina was really good. And she actually seemed to care about Jamie more than Rachel ever did in 4 or 5. So she was actually like a better character, like a better main character. And she looks like she's related to her a little bit more too because she has dark hair like her. So she really fit a lot better. And then there was this blonde biatch, and she's basically just there to show her boobs. And then you have the blonde guy, and he's basically there to have sex with her and get killed. And
yeah, you knew he was going to be one of the first ones. They kind of like stick out like sore thumbs.
Yeah, it's kind of embarrassing. It's like you shouldn't be able to predict this type of stuff unless it's unless it's like designed that way, like in Halloween 4, where they're all in that house and you know that they'll all die because they're in the house, and he's gonna come into the house and kill everyone.
Well, we were just betting on, like, we were watching it, who was going to get it first.
But in this one, you have these characters, they're just disposable. And then you have the boyfriend of Tina, and he is obsessed with a car. And for a while, it turns into Fast and the Furious Halloween edition, because Michael is he's just driving this car like he's in Fast and the Furious, and he's just using it like it's his only weapon. And it's like, this is not Michael's style at all. In the first movie, he used the car to stalk people. He did not use it to ram people down in the cornfield.
No.
So I thought that was really weak. As I said, there's a lot of weird choices in this movie. And the person who made this movie was a foreigner, and that explains why. He was some random foreign director, and he wrote and directed the movie, and he made like a shitty 4 out of 10 movie, and then he made some French series, and then he gets hired to do this. And it's like, this fucker, he didn't have any right directing this movie. He encroached on the series and turned it into some weird, obscure, that, like, nobody even cares about this movie. Like, I can guarantee that out of all the reviews for this series, this review is going to get the least amount of views. Because this foreign director came in, and I'm saying he's foreign because, this is an American series. And it's like, this guy, he has no connection to this series whatsoever. He's obviously, he's not a fan of this series. He's not a fan of these characters. Why in the fuck was he allowed to direct this movie and write this movie? I mean, it's sickening. It's like, this is almost, I would say, this should be illegal, what they did with this movie. It should be illegal what they did with part 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, all the way up to Halloween 78. This should be illegal. What do you think of that, Safi? What do you think about a foreigner making this movie?
Well, if they have a knowledge of American culture, because, I mean, this is an American small town.
Speak up, Safi, that the audience is
okay.
they're hard of hearing.
They have the person has to have some kind of knowledge of what a small town is like,
yeah.
and the dynamics of the people. And there wouldn't be anybody ignoring the fact that that little girl is by herself. I mean, I don't get that, and I just don't get that, and I don't even want to keep going, because if I don't understand it, all the talking about it isn't going to make it any more understandable.
But you could literally just break down the entire movie,
and then,
like every single choice that they made.
Well, and also just the movie, what happens in it. It just, it's almost like he's made up his own version of it. And
that's what I mean by foreigner. I mean that, like, this isn't Halloween. This is his Halloween.
Yeah, it's like, well, you know what it is? It's Halloween deconstructed.
Yeah.
And,
well, it's not that bad, but...
No, well,
you haven't seen part 6 yet, Safi.
Well, okay. But I just want to say about some of the things I liked, because there's so much to say that maybe it's not good, and I want people at least to know that.
Well, there is a lot of good stuff.
No, we're just not totally negative. I like the little girl. I think she's really adorable. I know that sounds weird. She kind of reminds me of my granddaughter, even though she has very dark hair. But I just thought, and she did a really good job acting. I'm not sure what they were trying to do. It was like, at first I thought I knew it, but she's because she's related to him, Michael Myers. They made her like act like, she had become part of him. and
Yeah.
what he was doing. So she would mock her body.
They communicate telepathically.
So she would, like let's say he was putting his mask back on.
That was really retarded.
All this stuff. So she would be doing that.
That was so dumb.
And then when he'd go after somebody, then she switched over to them.
Yeah, to the victims.
To the victim.
Doesn't make any sense.
This is a little girl, and they were, they had to have directed her to do this stuff, but she did a really good job. So I like that. And then also, this won't mean anything to anybody, but as a reseller of one thing, fashion, the girls, this one girl that Marco was talking about, the dark-haired girl, who seems to care more about the little Jamie, the little girl, than the blonde-headed girl who was technically her quote sister. It's a foster situation.
I guess in this movie she became her mom.
Well, and that's what I was wondering too. It was almost like she was her mom, and I don't know if somebody referred.
No, she adopted her. She became her mom.
Oh,
but the hilarious thing is that she doesn't care about her mom the rest of the movie.
No, and that was a weird thing, but I'm trying to say what was positive. Anyway, this girl who seemed to care more about her than her quote mother, her new mother, she and this other girl that Marco was talking about, who was showing herself that her boyfriend was doing something. I mean, I'm not going to mention it, but
Safi, shame on you.
They had the coolest clothes. She had this jacket, and it had been pieces of a different fabric had been sewn onto it. Then she had these like ornaments, doodads, jewelry sewn onto it too, and then a scarf, kind of like a very sheer scarf, a purple scarf connected onto it as well, like around it, like a necklace, a built-in necklace. And anyway, it was just, Marco was talking about that for this movie, the mask that they had gotten did not fit, and so he had for the whole movie, and you can see it actually, he had an ill-fitting mask. So here they are, these girls, and really everybody, even Jamie, when she had her costume, they made some kind of fairy princess costume.
Yeah, the wardrobe.
Purple gown.
The wardrobe was really good.
Yes, it was.
For this movie. And it's funny because that stupid clown costume from the fourth movie pales in comparison to the costume that she wears in this movie.
Which is a beautiful purple.
It's pink. It was a pink.
It was purple and pink. Costume. It was really pretty.
It was a very good costume, and it actually fit her a lot better than the stupid clown outfit.
Yeah. And so you have all these really, very interesting, unique clothing items people were wearing. Even all the boys, everybody was dressed very nicely. And so they had to, worked all that out.
So the wardrober did a better job than the writer.
But then you have a person, the main guy, who they can't get his costume.
His mask.
Right. His mask. His mask is really everything. It's iconic. He wouldn't be who he was without that mask.
Yeah, he would.
No, he wouldn't.
Yeah, he would.
No, he wouldn't.
Yeah,
Nobody would know.
That's because you have to give him a fucking character. You have to write a fucking character instead of just hiding him behind a mask.
Well, what am I thinking?
Masks. And so with this, so what happened was he was supposed to wear the mask from the fourth movie. I would say the fourth movie's mask might be the worst one of the series. It was just, ugh, what a terrible mask. he was supposed to wear that one. It didn't fit, so they made a new one that doesn't fit either. But it was almost like a stylistic choice where it like shows that it doesn't fit, and that it's like it's weird. It's like it's as I said, this whole movie is weird. It's so weird. Like, Jamie wants to see Tina. Jamie doesn't want to see her mom, who adopted her, the whole movie. She wants to see Tina.
And the reason why is because Tina got killed by Michael Myers early on.
No, the
Early
blonde
on.
girl got killed.
Oh, well, yeah,
Safi.
the blonde girl.
Not Tina.
Not Tina, sorry.
And so, but that doesn't matter. She should have known that she gotten killed. She should have also wanted to see her. She didn't want to see her at all.
No, she didn't even mention her name.
So that it's just it's this writing is so bad.
Okay, well, I think we should wrap it up.
No.
Yeah, sure.
No.
Okay,
Go to bed.
What else do you have to say then?
I'm saying it.
Okay.
The kills were really good. They were a huge improvement on the fourth one. The kills were a good mix of being like creative kills,
Yeah, they were.
being scary kills, like they look like they would hurt, and then also being nice and bloody. Because I don't care about these idiots who say like, what you picture in the mind is scarier. It's like, you know, when you watch a horror movie, you want to see a cool kill. You want to see blood. You know, I mean, just think about if they did a vampire movie and you didn't see any blood. I mean, just think about how awful that would be. That would be abysmal. It would be, oh wait, it's Twilight. Oh yeah. The Twilight series doesn't have any blood in it because it's for little girls who need to not watch Twilight. So, the kills were really good. The ending for Halloween 5 is probably the best ending so far. Because it's the only ending so far where he's not killed. Because in the first movie, they kill him. Like, they shoot him 6 times, and he falls off the balcony, and you think he's dead. And then he escapes because it's like an agenda, kind of, that he's pure evil. And so he can't die, which is just... That's not a plot for a series. That's why it was supposed to be an anthology, because it's literally not a plot. I mean, if it was a series, you want to have a character. That's why I keep saying you need to make him a character, and nobody will make him a character. And then part 2, that ending was really good. Part 3 doesn't count, but part 3 is a masterpiece. Part 4's ending was garbage, because it was just... It came out of nowhere. But in part 5, they do not kill him at all. They literally just capture him. And then this mysterious man in black helps him escape. And basically, it's like a really dark ending. And if you know what happens in part 6, it's even darker of an ending because of how, like, disgusting and gross it is. And just like, ugh. I mean, it's just... Part 6 is... Oh, I don't even want to watch Part 6 because I hate it so much. And I can't stand the people who like that movie. Because the people who like that movie are the people who like Halloween 2018. Because they say that basically Michael is like he is in Halloween 6 in 2018. Which is just completely mind-bogglingly stupid. So with Halloween 5, another thing I liked was... I liked the inside of Michael Myers' house, his childhood house. I thought that the inside of the house looked really good. The creepy, like, orangey type of look that it had on the inside and everything. The inside of the house looked really, really like a cool setting for a final battle. And it is actually a pretty good final battle, and I'll say that too. The final 15 minutes is a nice little battle that they have. I know that there's deleted stuff that we haven't seen yet where he kills an entire SWAT team. I bet that that would make this movie even better. And I'll say this too. If they hadn't killed off the blonde girl, Rachel, they still would have killed her off later in the movie. Like, no one was safe in this movie. That was the point. They literally killed off everyone. So, except for Dr. Loomis and Jamie, of course, the two main characters. So, everyone was meant to die sooner or later, unfortunately, because they then do the plot of Part 6, which is probably one of the worst plots in history. Movie history, that is. TV history is way worse. So, I would say that Halloween 5, the main adjective that I could use to describe every single thing about it is weird. It is a weird movie. It keeps dragging on, kind of like this review because it's over 30 minutes now. It just keeps going. And you wonder, like, why isn't anything good happening? Like, nothing scary happens. Nothing particularly frightening, like intense happens. It's all just this drag. This movie is like a drag. It is like you go from part 4, which is like a mediocre fan film. You go from that to this like really like over the top, cringeworthy foreign Halloween movie. And I say that because it's just so different. And it just does not fit. It's like the black sheep of the series. This movie does not fit at all with the other movies. It is just a complete, like, it's weird. So, I'm going to rate the movie now in terms of food. Safi fell asleep forever. She's literally sound asleep. So, I thought about this a little bit. I'm going to go with something that I rated the other movies, which, you know, if you remember, I rated the first one a cafeteria cheeseburger meal. I rated the fourth one a cafeteria bacon cheeseburger meal, which is, oh, God. Ugh. So, instead of a burger, though, I'm going to say that this movie is a cheesy gordita crunch from Taco Bell. Just one of them. With a Baja Blast freeze. And I'll say, oh yeah, the music for Halloween 5 is much better than the music for Halloween 4. They had a really good theme that they made for part 5, and I thought that that was really good. I thought that there was a lot better music. The only reason why I didn't really mention it is because the sound for these discs is abysmal. Like, I have turned these movies up to volume 100 out of 100 and still cannot hear the people talking because they're whispering. And like Donald Pleasance with his lines, he is literally fucking whispering. And it is so annoying. And so, the music, it's like, you know, why even mention the music? Because I can't even hear anything with these movies. That's been a real frustrating thing. That's why I like to watch things with earphones. So, the cheesy gordita crunch, you know, you take the ingredients of a burger. What is it? You have a bread, which is the shell. You know, the shell for the cheesy gordita crunch. They're 2 shells. And then you have cheese. It goes on a cheeseburger. Then you have the burger meat. And then you have some other stuff too. Lettuce, tomato, special sauce. And that is like what this movie is. It's good. It's good in a lot of ways, but it's just trashy. It's like a fast food. This movie is like a product. It is not like a piece of art like the first 3 movies. The fourth one is a fan film, so it just it's sort of This movie is just fast food, though. It is completely commercial, bullshit, studio made, typical. Let's give this random foreign guy the chance to direct and make a Halloween movie. A guy who has no connection to the series. A guy who chooses to put a random character who wears black and he's got steel tipped boots and he jingles and not even knowing who he is or what his character is, when the series is already fucking confusing enough, like with the fact that they refuse to make Michael Myers an actual character, and then the fact that they give him like a tattoo in this movie for no reason that's stated in the actual movie, and so it's just does not fit. And so it's almost like you take the ingredients of any other Halloween movie and you repurpose them into this new, different stuff. And I'm not saying like foreign bad. I'm saying like just like something that's different from a hamburger. And I thought, what's different that's also got stuff from a hamburger? Well, tacos. And so a cheesy gordita crunch. There you go. And I would say that the Baja Blast Freeze is representative of the cast. Because I would actually say that this movie, if all the characters were written well, then this movie would probably have my favorite cast of characters in the entire series. Part 1 has very normal, mundane girls. Part 2 has some pretty, like, just kind of regular people, and then Dr. Loomis. Part 3 doesn't, Part 3 doesn't count. Part 4 just has, like, these fan film types of characters. So, Part 5, I would actually say the characters are the star, because the actors are really good, they're really likable, and if they were given a good script, then this would have been easily the best Halloween movie. It's tough to say that because it's hard to picture that. But if you really look at things, Part 1, the reason why it's good is not really why it's meant to be good. Like, as a kid, I never saw Michael Myers as a force of nature. Ever. I saw him as a character. I made up my own character. In fact, I redid Halloween 5. And I said, what would I do? I would do this and that and this and that. And when you just picture the things that you could do with the character, with the series, to make things develop naturally, you can make a really good series. And instead, they just go this commercial route. And guess what? This movie was a failure. It is a complete failure. And it is all because a little studio decided, let's hire a foreign guy to make a Halloween movie. That'll work out really well. A guy who has no connection to the Halloween series. A guy who has made shit. Let's get him to make Halloween. Let's not get someone who actually understands horror to make Halloween. Because the biggest issue with this movie, too, is that the way that they shoot the movie is terrible. It's shot in such, like, a normal way. Like, oh, Michael Myers is just nonchalantly walking in the background. And it's not even, like, in a clever way where he's, like, walking and, like, moving through the shadows. It's like he's just walking casually. And, it's really shot like an average horror film. That being said, I'll say this. It at least feels like a horror, like a Halloween film. Whereas Halloween 4 felt like a fan-made, fan service fest. So, Safi? Safi,
What?
it's almost 40 minutes now, and you need to do your rating.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. What are you doing, Safi?
Sorry, I fell asleep.
Why is that, Safi?
Because I'm just so tired.
That's not an excuse.
It's been a long day. But the rating I gave it was, I make a chicken pot pie. And I made
Speak up, Safi.
I make a chicken pot pie.
I mentioned how the sound for this movie was bad.
And the sound was horrible.
The sound has been bad for every movie in the series.
And it doesn't matter. We turn it way up. We sit in different parts of the room that are closest. And it could be perfectly silent. And they're almost like they're whispering. What Dr. Loomis is actually... He seems like he really is whispering, but even if he was, you should be able to hear it.
Yeah.
And I mean, and it's really some of the stuff they say. It's important to what's going on, to the action of the movie, even though it is repetitive and not. I mean, the same thing happens over and over. Different people and different types of kills, but I mean, the same principle. But still.
Well, and I'll say, too, I never mentioned that Dr. Loomis was actually good in this movie, and I don't agree with the fanboys who say that, I don't like how Dr. Loomis went dark. I want him to stay a hero. And, like, he was still a hero. He literally did the same thing in part 2, where he took Lori into that room, and then he sort of used her as bait to get into that room. For him to go into that room. The dangerous room.
Yeah.
So.
Well, anyway, I make a chicken pot pie. And I don't know how you all have it, but I've made it kind of different ways. And what's different about every time I make it is the crust. I either get a biscuit crust and I put it on top, or I cut little biscuits out of the top and lay them on the top of the... I've tried putting it in a pie. I make a butter pie crust. I put the chicken pot pie in the butter pie, and the top of it it sinks down into the liquid, and it's too, you expect a pie. I just don't know what to do, but really it's the same thing every time underneath, like in the movie where he keeps going after the little girl over and over again. And then he goes after the people who take one look at her. Pay a second mind to her. He has to kill them, and it just goes over and over and over again. And so that's the way I'm. The pie, the chicken pot pie, the filling is the same. Just like what he's doing. It's repeating. It's the same over and over again. But the methods and the way they go about it, it changes. Because I haven't been able to really completely... Well, it depends on what you want, but
she keeps on making, like, different versions that are, like, weird in quality.
Right. So, that's what I rated it.
So, well, Safi...
Should we tell them what we're going to do yet, or should we wait with how we're going to rate the movies in the end when we finish them?
Before we talk about that, Safi, who was the girl that you thought was attractive in this movie? Remember, you were trying to tell me that...
I don't know what you're talking about.
You were trying...
I don't know what you're talking about.
There was this one scene in the movie where Safi was like, Marco, isn't that girl more attractive than the other one? It was like...
I don't know what he's talking about. He's
it was
making
really
up
weird.
Stuff. He's making up stuff. I just
no,
like...
I'm not kidding.
I liked what they were wearing.
I think
and,
it was Tina.
I don't know. I liked what they were wearing. The blonde girl, the one who's like her mother now or something.
Yeah.
She dresses and acts like a middle-aged, frumpy old lady.
Yeah.
And that's really, to me, that's really kind of strange.
Basically like how Lori dressed in the first movie.
Yeah. And then, anyway, and then the other girls in it, they're dressed in a fun way, in a creative way.
Yeah, it's fun.
Like
they're fun,
they're
right,
younger.
Safi?
Like they're younger.
Are
like
they fun?
Their age. They're not in the middle. They're middle
Was this
ages
movie
yet.
fun? Was it fun when Dr. Loomis beat up Michael Myers with wood?
Yeah. Yeah, that was something.
Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're going to be doing a commentary of Halloween 1 and 2 remakes. We're gonna do the unrated version of the first one, and then the unrated version of the second one. Well, actually, I'm not sure about the second one because I want Safi to suffer. And the second one's unrated version is better than the rated version. So I don't know if that would be good or not. But we're actually going to go back and re-rate all the Halloween movies in terms of candy. And then we're going to get the candies that we rate the movies. And we're going to have that be the commentary food. If you don't know, it's like a punishment food thing where every time we don't like something in a movie or show, we take a little bite. And so we'll take like little tiny bites of these candies.
Now, this isn't just any
each movie.
candy. This is the candy that people hand out for Halloween.
Yeah.
So, I have to, and we'll talk about it together, but
We'll have
we
to
have
make
to
it
figure
fun.
out what candy's given out and make a list, and then we have to figure out of that what goes with what movie.
Well, I would say that, okay, I won't give anything away.
No, don't give anything away. So anyway,
So-
are we about done now?
Yeah, hopefully.
Okay, well,
Safi.
please like or subscribe.
Sleepy
and subscribe.
Sleepy
and,
Safi.
You
Is that
know,
your new nickname, Sleepy
well,
Safi?
like I said, when you wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning,
Sleepy Safi.
or 4 o'clock in the morning, this morning it was 4 o'clock.
I should rename the channel Sleepy Safi and Snipey Marco.
Yeah, really.
Really?
Is
Is it fun?
And you wake up
This movie
and
was
you're
fun.
wide awake, and then, but when you get later on, about 9 o'clock or so, you start fading fast. You just can't, you have to, and I don't get 8 hours, I never get 8 hours of sleep. I get 2 at the maximum, 2.5. That's why I take naps all throughout the day, because I'm making up for the sleep that I don't get at night.
You know what was really fun?
What?
Safi?
What?
When this video ended. Goodbye, everybody. See you
Bye.
soon.